Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt like your knees belonged to someone else, someone 20 years older? Maybe you wake up in the morning and before your eyes are even fully open, the first thing you feel is pain in your hands, hips, or lower back. That quiet, nagging stiffness. That dull ache that makes everyday things, getting dressed, going for a walk, even cooking breakfast, feel like a chore. It can be frustrating when your body doesn't cooperate. When it seems like each year after 60 brings a new reminder that joints don't heal the way they used to, and maybe, like so many others, you've been told it's just part of aging, something you have to live with. But what if I told you that's not entirely true? What if there are simple things you could eat, delicious natural foods, that could actually help reverse some of that joint pain? Not just manage it, not just mask it with pills or creams, but truly support your joints from the inside out. And the best part? These aren't exotic, hard-to-find ingredients. You might already have one or two of them sitting in your kitchen right now. Today, we're going to talk about exactly that. Because after 60, every little improvement in how you move and feel matters. And these foods, they're your allies, backed by science, and even better, backed by stories from people just like you who've made small changes and felt real results. So, let's start with one of the most surprising and most powerful foods for joint health. Imagine it's a cool morning. You're sitting at the kitchen table with a warm cup of tea, and you spread a spoonful of golden honey onto toast. But this isn't just any honey, it's raw honey, combined with a little bit of turmeric powder, a blend that's been used in many cultures for centuries. Turmeric, especially when paired with a pinch of black pepper, is a powerhouse for reducing inflammation, which is the root of most joint pain. Now, I'm not saying a sprinkle of turmeric will work overnight. But when it becomes a habit, when you add it to your morning oatmeal or your favorite roasted vegetables, it starts to shift something inside. It gently calms the storm that's been brewing in your knees, your fingers, your spine. A friend of mine, Linda, 68 years old, used to dread her morning walks. Not because she didn't love the air or the birds or the sunshine, but because every step felt like walking through sand with bricks tied to her ankles. She started adding a turmeric-laced smoothie to her breakfast a few times a week, just turmeric, banana, a bit of ginger, and almond milk. Nothing fancy. But after a month, she said, "I didn't even notice when it happened, but one day I realized my knees weren't screaming anymore." That's the kind of quiet victory we're aiming for here. Now, picture yourself slicing into a perfectly ripe avocado, soft, creamy, satisfying. Maybe you spread it on toast or add it to a salad or even blend it into a soup. That simple avocado is packed with healthy fats, particularly omega-3s and monounsaturated fats that help lubricate your joints from the inside. Think of it like putting a little oil on a squeaky hinge. The more regularly you include healthy fats, like this, the easier movement starts to feel. When you're over 60, your body starts producing less of the natural cushioning it used to. The cartilage thins, the joints get rougher. But foods like avocado can support the structures that keep your joints comfortable. And even more than that, they can help your body repair itself, slowly but surely. There's something deeply empowering about knowing your grocery list can become your medicine, that you don't need to rely solely on prescriptions or injections to feel better, that every bite you take can be a vote for strength, flexibility, and less pain. And speaking of strength, let's not forget about berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, whichever you like. These little bursts of color are full of antioxidants. That means they help fight off the damage in your joints caused by time, by wear and tear, and even by stress. They're like tiny, shields for your cartilage, and they taste like dessert, a handful of berries in the morning or after dinner as a treat. That's not just good nutrition. That's self-care in the purest form. I remember talking to a man named George, 74. He said the thing he missed most was dancing. His joints felt too stiff, too swollen. But his granddaughter got him into eating frozen blueberries every day, just a cup, with a little yogurt. He laughed and said, "I thought it was silly at first, but a few weeks in I could move better." I even surprised my wife with a slow dance in the living room. You see, it's not always about getting rid of pain completely. Sometimes it's about getting back the little joys, the parts of life you thought were behind you. And food real. Nourishing food can help you do that. It's easy to feel like change is too far gone once we pass 60. But the body is more adaptable than we give it credit for. And by adding the right foods, not only can we ease pain, we can unlock movement, energy, and a kind of comfort we thought was gone for good. And that's where we'll leave off for now. Take a moment and think about your next meal. What's one small change you can make to support your joints, your body, your future? Because this journey doesn't require perfection. It just needs a little curiosity, a little courage, and maybe a little avocado on your toast. Now, if you've ever warmed your hands around a bowl of hearty soup on a chilly day, you'll understand the comfort that food can bring, not just emotionally, but physically too. And when that soup is made with bone broth, you're doing more for your joints than you might realize. Bone broth has become a bit of a buzzword lately, but don't let the trendiness fool you. It's something our grandparents and great-grandparents swore by for a reason. When you simmer bones slowly for hours, sometimes even a whole day, they release all the good stuff your joints are craving: collagen, gelatin, amino acids like glycine and proline. These nutrients are the very building blocks of cartilage and connective tissue. You might be thinking, well, I'm already past 60. Is it too late for that to help? And the answer is a gentle, confident no. The human body is always trying to repair itself every day. And even though it may not work quite as fast as it did in your 30s, it's never too late to feed it what it needs. Bone broth doesn't just warm you up, it nourishes those creaky knees and achy wrists from the inside. It's like giving your joints a warm bath from the inside out. A woman I know named Miriam, 70, started having a small cup of bone broth before dinner each night. She made it herself with leftover chicken bones, carrots, a bit of garlic, and apple cider vinegar to pull the nutrients from the bones. After a few weeks, she said she noticed she wasn't reaching for her pain cream quite as often. She didn't change anything else, just added broth. That's the beauty of simple changes. Now, here's a food that might surprise you: chia seeds. Yes, those tiny black seeds you've probably seen in health stores or maybe in your grandkids' trendy breakfast bowl, but don't be fooled by their size. They're full of omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, magnesium, and fiber, all of which support healthy joints and reduce inflammation. You might be wondering, how can something so small actually help? And I get it. It sounds too simple. But these little seeds are power-packed. Omega-3s especially are like peacekeepers in your body. They calm the inflammation, reduce stiffness, and can even help slow down cartilage breakdown. And chia seeds, they have more omega-3s than salmon, gram for gram. Pretty amazing, right? You can sprinkle them on your oatmeal, mix them into yogurt, or soak them in almond milk overnight for a pudding that's surprisingly satisfying. Plus, they help keep your digestion smooth and your heart healthy too. Bonus after bonus. My friend Jim, 66, started adding chia seeds to his breakfast after he read about their anti-inflammatory powers. At first, he thought it was nonsense, But then, on his regular walks, he noticed something curious. He was moving faster. The stiffness in his ankles had softened. His joints felt freer. And the best part? He didn't feel like he had to give up anything to get there. Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. And while we're talking about powerhouses, let's talk about one of the most humble, overlooked vegetables. Out there, spinach. You see it all the time in salads or as a sad scoop on the side of your dinner plate. But spinach is one of nature's most generous gifts for joint pain. It's loaded with vitamin K, which helps protect the cartilage in your joints, and it has plant compounds that fight inflammation like a quiet little army. Here's the thing. Joint pain isn't always about injury. It's often about inflammation slowly wearing you down. So eating foods that help your body fight back gently and consistently is one of the smartest moves you can make. If you're not a fan of spinach on its own, no problem. Blend it into a fruit smoothie, toss it into soups, cook it into eggs. You don't have to eat a salad every day to get the benefits. Just find ways to sneak it in little by little. There was a retired carpenter named Al who told me, "I never touched anything green unless it was on top of a burger." But after he had 2 knee surgeries, his doctor gently nudged him toward eating more greens. His wife got creative spinach in his scrambled eggs, spinach hidden in pasta sauce. And a couple months later, he said he was bending down to tie his shoes without groaning for the first time in years. That's the kind of story that reminds us small changes stack up. They build something stronger, something better. And that's what all of this is about. Not chasing youth, not pretending we're 30 again, but giving our bodies what they need to keep showing up for us. Food is powerful. And when you choose the right ones, bone broth to rebuild, chia seeds to soothe, spinach to protect, you're not just eating, you're healing, you're caring. You're saying, I still matter, and I still have things I want to do. So tonight, maybe your dinner includes something new. Maybe you stir some spinach into your rice, or make a warm mug of broth with a little lemon and salt. Maybe you sprinkle chia on top of your yogurt and smile, knowing you're doing something. Kind for yourself, because every small step you take is a step toward feeling better, toward moving easier, toward waking up with a little more hope. And that's a beautiful thing. We've talked about some powerful foods already: turmeric, avocado, berries, bone broth, chia seeds, spinach. But before we close, there's one more that deserves a place at your table, not just for its rich, comforting flavor, but because it's quietly working behind the scenes to help soothe your joints. Extra virgin olive oil. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Olive oil isn't exactly exciting. It's been sitting in your pantry for years. But the kind we're talking about here isn't just for drizzling on salad or frying an egg. When used the right way, high-quality, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil can be one of the most effective natural anti-inflammatories you can eat. This golden oil contains something called oleocanthal, a compound that works a lot like ibuprofen, but without the side effects. It helps calm swelling, reduce joint stiffness, and protect against the wear and tear of aging. And the best part? You don't have to do anything fancy. Just a tablespoon a day, maybe on some roasted vegetables or mixed into a dressing, can go a long way. A man named Carlo, who's 72 now, told me that after years of switching between medications for his arthritis, he just wanted something that felt normal, something that didn't come in a bottle from the pharmacy. He started adding a spoonful of olive oil to his meals sometimes, with lemon juice over steamed greens, sometimes just drizzled over bread. It wasn't dramatic, he said, but I noticed I stopped wincing when I got up from the couch. That quiet shift, that gentle ease, is what real healing feels like. We often think that to fix something as frustrating as joint pain, we need extreme measures, surgery, strict diets, long lists of rules. But healing doesn't always come with a loud bang. Sometimes it arrives with a whisper, a warm bowl of broth, a spoonful of olive oil, a smoothie laced with turmeric, a handful of berries shared with someone you love. The truth is, food is a form of love. And after 60, when our bodies are calling for a little extra care, what we put on our plate is one of the kindest, most powerful forms of love we can give ourselves. Maybe you've been dealing with joint pain for years. Maybe it crept up slowly. Or maybe one day, all at once, it became the thing that made you second guess whether you could take that walk, play with the grandkids, or even get a good night's sleep. And that's hard. It's okay to say it, it's hard. But here's what. I want you to know you are not powerless. You are not stuck. Your body, even now, is listening. It's responding. And the small, consistent choices you make, choosing foods that fight inflammation, rebuild cartilage, and support movement, can absolutely change how you feel day to day. Not overnight, not perfectly, but surely, gently, with patience. And maybe, like Linda, you'll one day realize your knees aren't screaming when you wake up. Or like George, you'll find yourself dancing again. Or like Miriam, you'll reach for the broth instead of the cream. Quiet victories that add up to something. Beautiful. So here's what I'd love for you to remember. Your age is not your limit. It's your launch pad. This chapter, this season, can still be vibrant, full of energy, full of motion. Every meal is a chance to support your body, to move toward ease, toward joy, toward a life where joint pain doesn't decide what you can or can't do, and you don't have to do it alone. We're here, me, this community, everyone tuning in, because we're walking the same road. We're choosing to believe in healing, in possibility, and in the quiet power of simple changes. So if this helped you, if something clicked, if you're feeling even a little more hopeful, please give it a like. Share it with someone you care about, and subscribe. Not for numbers, not for trends, but so we can keep sharing these truths, these stories, this hope, together. And remember, my friend, the path to less pain isn't always paved with pills or perfection. Sometimes it starts with something as small as a berry, or as beautiful as believing your body still wants to heal and will if you give it the chance. You deserve to feel good again. Let's eat well. Let's move gently. Let's live fully. I'm so glad you're here.